So today we are going to be making some chili beans, and right here I am just browning my hamburger meat. This is 1 pound of hamburger meat, and depending on how you like your chili, some people like more beef and less beans, or vice versa. So just keep that in mind and make this depending on what your preference is. But I'm basically just going ahead and browning my hamburger meat. And I am going to do this ahead of time. I'm not cooking these in a crock pot, but if I was, I would still cook my hamburger meat separate from, the beans or whatever. And just to let you know that the beans is, it depends on how you want to make them. Sometimes I make them from dried beans, and sometimes I use canned beans. Today I'm going to use canned beans. It's just a quicker version of it. If you do want to use the dry beans, just go ahead and cook your beans according to the package instructions. And then once they get done, then you can add your hamburger meat and all of your other ingredients to your chili. Just make sure that about an hour before you want to eat your chili beans that you add your ingredients, and that way it gives them about an hour to simmer and get all of those flavors nice and combined. And I had already had these onions chopped up from something else that we had already had the other night. But, just chop them up however you want to. I would say it's probably about half an onion in here. Half of a small onion diced. Alright, so now that my hamburger meat is pretty much almost completely browned, I think I got a little bit of pink in there, but it doesn't matter because it's going to cook a little bit more. But I'm going to go ahead and add my seasoning. Now here you can do different options. They do make chili seasoning, I think by McCormick, in a pack. You can buy those at the grocery store. I have also used taco seasoning to put into my meat in a pinch. So but what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to put my own seasonings in here. And I do want to do this prior to adding this to my beans, just so that the flavors get nice and worked into the hamburger meat. Now you can drain your hamburger meat at this point if you want to, and then just return it back to your pot prior to adding your seasoning. But I am not. I'm not going to do that. Sometimes I think the fat that is produced from the hamburger meat makes your dish a little bit more flavorful. No, it's not the healthiest version, so you make this recipe according to how you want this to be for you. But I just got some chili powder here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add about an eighth of a cup of this. I'm just going to sprinkle it around. I may end up putting a little bit more in here, I'm not sure. But for right now, I'm just going to start off with an eighth of a cup of the chili powder. And that's another thing, depending on how much spice you want, this can vary. That's why I don't usually follow a particular recipe, because I think when it comes to stuff like spices and healthy, how to make dishes healthy, depending on your lifestyle, it just varies so much on what you can do, especially with something like this. So I would start out small amounts and then just gradually build up depending on what, how much spice and flavor you want for your dish to have. Just remember that it's going to smell and be a lot stronger in your beef before you add it to your beans, because once you add it to your beans, it's going to have a lot more area to cover. So, that's why I guess it's important for you to taste this after you get this all mixed up. And, you can always add more spices once you get it mixed in with your beans. So I'm going to get that good and mixed in, and then I'm going to add the same amount of cumin to this as well. And this actually smells, the cumin to me, you can smell, it actually smells more like a chili. So, or the flavoring for your chili. So you may want to, like I said, do your spices depending on what flavor you like to taste the most. So I'm not going to add any more seasonings to this right now. I think the eighth of a cup of each spice right now is good. I'm going to combine everything together, and then we'll do the taste test to see, how I want to tweak that. But I am going to put a little bit of salt and pepper in here, and again, this is another option for you to decide how much or less you want to add. All right, so I'm going to switch this out and I'm going to move my pot here onto the burner. And now I'm going to start adding my beans. I think typically your chili recipes usually call for pinto and kidney beans. My mother doesn't like kidney beans, so a lot of times she'll sit there and pick them out. So what I usually do is I try and put more pinto beans in it than I do the kidney beans, or if I do kidney beans, I always do the light ones. So I've got 3 cans of the pinto beans that I'm going to add, and I do keep those juices in here. I was buying my kidney beans, or red beans as they call it. I had started out buying the traditional red beans, but this is chili beans. So it's already got a little bit of seasoning in this can. That's another reason why I didn't add any more spices, because I wasn't sure how spicy these beans were going to end up being on their own. And it's kind of red, so, you know, of course they're red beans, but it does look like it might have some spice in there. And I only got 2 cans of that. I'm just going to give all these beans a good stir to get them good and mixed up. Now I'm going to add one of these little secret quick ingredients. I don't guess it's a secret because I actually discovered this on a recipe that I was looking at when I was trying to come up with some chili beans. But I am going to put this jar of salsa into my beans. And it just makes this a little bit easier because it's already got all these nice, wonderful flavors in here. It's got the tomatoes, the sauce, all that good stuff. Sometimes, depending, if I had a small jar, I would add a separate can of the diced tomatoes. I did buy a can, but I don't think I'm going to need to use it because I am going to use this whole jar of salsa. And it really doesn't depend on it doesn't matter what salsa you use. I just happen to like paste, so that's what I picked up. Stir that around, get that good and worked in. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so. And now at this point, all I'm going to do is just add my meat mixture. And like I said, I'm going to let this simmer on the stove for about 30 minutes. And, you know, I'll do a taste test to see if I need to tweak my seasonings. Keep in mind, if you are going to use cans that already have some seasoning in it, whether it be the salsa or, you know, the can of beans you use, it's going to determine, you know, how much of your own spice you put in there. If you're going to use packets, you might want to start out with half of the packet. So I'm going to add this hamburger mixture into this. So this is the Ghost Bingo game I was talking about. These are the little playing cards that everybody gets. And anything that's got boo on it is the black, because sometimes people are having a hard time distinguishing between the black and the purple. Of course, this is your free space. And then the little pieces that we use to cover up the game with are just these little marble type things. And if you'll look, she has actually taken a little design or something, little Halloween picture, and put it on the back of these so that they show through on here. So this is like a whole entire jar of them, and all of them have different little things on them. So that is our Halloween ghost game that we play when we get together once a year as a family. Some of y'all were asking me about it, so I did want to show you what that was. This is good. Yeah. You make this slice? Yeah. That's good. Thank you. You get a Pinterest recipe? Yeah.
Oh, orange.
Video and yeah.
Oh, orange.